It's time for the Kim Hammer Show, where you'll learn how your state government affects you, your family, and community. Here's Kim Hammer.
Good afternoon on what's another beautiful Saturday afternoon. Hope that you're out enjoying it. Opening day of modern gun season. So for all those that are out there hunting, maybe you got your earphones on. We hope that you're having a great day and a successful day out hunting. I was out this morning myself, and it's just a beautiful day to be out there. All right, so we're going to have two great guests on today from Applied Research Center of Arkansas. But before we get to Donna and Randy Wright, let me just thank the sponsors of our show, which if you're watching Facebook Live, you can see I've got a couple of them up on the screen. First of all, I want to thank Everett GMC Buick, located in Saline County, there at I-30 and the Alcoa overpass. It's a great place for you to go get a brand new GMC or Buick vehicle, whether it be a car or a truck, either one. And also, it's a great place to go and get a pre-certified used vehicle, as well as get all your service needs met, regardless of whatever it is. They can take care of you, whether it's on the minor stuff or the major stuff. You can get in and out real quick for oil changes and just basic service. They got a great place for you to sit, and just their lounge area is second to none. You can plug in, have your phones for your car. Have your plug-ins for your phone. Also, they got a great little continental breakfast bar there that you can take advantage of. So I would encourage, if you're looking for a new vehicle or a good pre-certified used vehicle or service, Everett GMC Buick down in Saline County, I-30 Alco Road, real easy to get to, and not a difficult place to go and experience a shopping experience for a new car. And then also want to thank Baxley Phillips Mounty Real Estate. They service Central Arkansas. They are located down there at Spring Hill and also at Highway 5. Easy to get in, easy to get out. And I'll tell you what's impressive. If you drive around Central Arkansas, you see a lot of their signs up, especially if you're looking to be an investor in commercial market. They have a lot of commercial property listed. And also, if you're looking to rent a house, in fact, I referred a friend to them this week because they are moving into the Central Arkansas area, and they have a rental division that if you have property that you want to rent, they'll manage it for you as far as the collection of it. And I've actually used that service with them before, and it is a very painless service, and it makes being a renter, but also the individual that owns the property, a lot easier. So call Bill down there at Baxley Phillips Mounty, and they can take care of you on that side too, whether it be commercial or residential. And then Edwards Food Store. And if you're watching live on Facebook, you notice that I've got a flyer up because they're offering a Thanksgiving special where you can just order your turkey dinner in several sizes. They have all the trimmings to go with it, and the prices are very affordable. I was in there this morning getting my wife her breakfast there at the food bar, and it's a great place to go and get breakfast, but it's also a great place to go and just buy your groceries. And now you can order your Thanksgiving dinner and take the stress off of having to worry about cooking it and do it at affordable prices. Also, one thing that's also really good is that they have added a new checkout feature at their checkout line. You can now self-check if you want to. So you got the best of everything. You got self-check, or they will check you out. You can order online and pick it up at the curb, and they still provide great, friendly customer service and keep the stores well stocked and very clean. So it's a great place for you to go for a shopping experience. I want to tell you next week who my guest is going to be, because it's going to be an important show. And having experiences personally with my mom, it is a little bit personal. But I'm going to have David Cook with the Alzheimer's Association on, and we are going to talk about coming up on the holidays. If you have a family member that deals with Alzheimer's, some things that you can do to just make the holiday season a little bit easier, especially under the COVID restrictions that we're under now, and just talk about Alzheimer's here in the state of Arkansas. So it would be a great show to tune into, especially if you're affected by this disease personally in your family. And that'll be next Saturday on the Kim Hammer Show. Today, though, we have Applied Research Center of Arkansas, and the owners are Randy and Donna Wright. And we are going to talk about the test that is now available that y'all are going through. And so, first of all, let me just start off by asking y'all to tell a little bit about Applied Research Center of Arkansas, and just give us some history as far as when you started business and what you do, and just give people an idea of who you are.
I'm Donna, and I have been a nurse practitioner in the Little Rock area for the last 30 years now, I guess. And we have started Applied Research Center about, we're going on our ninth year now.
Ninth year.
Yeah. And we also have a walk-in clinic as well that will also, for people who cannot get in to see their physicians or don't have a physician. But applied research is important. I've done clinical research trials for the past 20 years. We have a staff that's with us that has also done that length of trials as well. And clinical trials are important for medicines to get approved to be able to go public and to treat. So without clinical trials, your medications, if you're currently taking medicines, each one had to go through a clinical trial. So that's what we do, is to help get the whether it be vaccine or oral medicine or topical medicine, to get approved. So we've been in the same on North Rodney Parham. We've been there for the past 9 years. We have several physicians that work with us and doing clinical trials in various different specialty areas. We do several trials. I think we've probably done in the last 9 years. I don't even know how many trials,
A
but
lot.
it's been
A lot.
I couldn't even begin to count them. Just in our facility. Mostly it's in GI, so those issues of like irritable bowel constipation, irritable bowel diarrhea. We have ulcerative colitis. We've done studies in Crohn's disease. We've done dermatitis. We're currently in atopic dermatitis right now for kids and for adults. We're also done some urology, which is overactive bladder. We've done studies in that. Currently, we have a kidney stone study going on right now. We also have done in women's health. We currently have two studies in those areas. We have an infant formula study. And to participate in these studies, you have to agree. It is you given your consent. You have to read a consent, understand the study. It's voluntarily. You come in and you consent, and then if you qualify, then we can enroll you in the studies.
So how is it that y'all got started in the study business anyway? Because you've been in it how long now?
We've been in our facility for the last 9 years. I've done clinical trials for the last 20 years. So in other offices that I worked in, they did clinical research trials. And I started there and kind of got into recruiting patients and helping patients understand about clinical trials. Because it's important in order for a drug or a vaccine to be approved, we have to go through a clinical trial to assess its safety and side effects, and before it can actually become public and be actually prescribed. So I've done clinical trials for the past 20 years. Rhonda, who is with us, was with Jennings Osborne, and she's done trials for.
Oh gosh,
long.
Rhonda worked with Jennings for what, 14 years?
17. I think.
17 years,
Mhm.
and until he died. And so she was Jennings' right arm. I mean, she ran his research center.
You brought
So-
some experience to the table when you got her.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. She came in, and she's our director.
Very good.
She's our research director.
Okay.
Dr. Steve Simpson is our medical director. Dr. Lee Wilbur is actually the primary investigator that's in charge of this study that we'll be talking about today, the COVID vaccine by AstraZeneca that we're enrolling in right now. So we have a lot of doctors that we work with here in the market. Cornerstone, we do all their research. I'm sure people are very familiar with them, and especially on women's health. We do all their research, have a lot of studies going on with them, have even more coming up. So, but you know, the big ones now are the COVID studies right now that we're enrolling in, and they want to, you know, push to get this through. All the drug companies do, because there's a lot of them out there, Pfizer and AstraZeneca, and you know, all the anybody that's a drug company is figuring out either a vaccine or a treatment for COVID.
Mhm.
And so that's the push, because it's not going away tomorrow.
No, and it seems to be a race for all the drug companies who can get there first, but who can get there safely too. It's
Right.
not just about who can
Exactly.
get there first.
Right.
It's who can offer the safest product,
Right.
which is important because it is something new that we haven't had to deal with before, and people want to know that with confidence that if they take the vaccine, that it's going to be one that's not going to have the adverse effects that, you know, sometimes
Yeah.
people get scared by.
Mhm.
Let me ask you before we go into discussion on that, though, as far as what is required of you, because I can't imagine it's like you hang out a shingle and say, okay, we're in the clinical trial business.
Right.
What are the requirements that are placed on you as an organization? Because you're the only one in the state of Arkansas that's offering this, right?
Yes.
So that tells me that you've got either some high standards that you've got to live up to, or there are some really high expectations and requirements that are passed down by the federal government for you to be able to handle this. So
Mhm.
if you're going to be in the clinical trial business as you are, what are some of the requirements that are placed upon you by the federal government that allows you to be able to do what you do? And just talk about the process of how you got, not so much how you got to where you are, as much as what's required to get to where you are, as you know, that the federal government puts on you.
Well, it's very tedious. Number one, you have to have requirements. We have physicians who are primary investigators.
Which you
So,
have a long list of physicians, and some of those are heavy hitters.
oh yes, yeah, we have a long list of physicians. I think we have about 15 physicians that work with us doing different clinical trials. So you do have to have a physician that oversees the trial. That's very important. He is pretty much responsible for the trial, and then delegation wise, he could delegate different tasks to people who are equipped and are able to do those tasks. So we have a staff that you have to go through certain training. You have to do, you know, good clinical practices. It's a course that you have to take. So you have to adhere to that. We also are very heavily monitored by the sponsors. They come in, they have their monitors that come in. They go over all our data that we have done. You have a protocol you have to follow. It's very specific. You cannot deviate from that protocol, and so it's very important that the staff is very aware of what the protocol involves. As far as you know, people coming in that want to do the trials, well, we have to go through a medical history, saying, you know, what is your medical history, and according to this particular trial, they cannot enroll because this is your medical history. We want you to be safe. We don't want to be able to cause any harm to you. You have to have actually a clearance to be able to enter the trial.
Yeah, and then we contract out to the doctors. We're kind of a contracted company that works between the drug sponsors, which would be AstraZeneca, Merck, Pfizer, the different ones. So I could go through the list of all the different drug companies that we've been involved with. And once you prove yourself to them that you can handle the trial, you've got a good PI, a good doctor to work with you, then they call you back and they want you to do more. And AstraZeneca called us and said, "Can you do this trial? We need it, immediately." And we said, "Sure, let's do it." So, we've worked with them and others before. So it's a long relationship that we've had with them. The little part that I was going to say when Donna was talking about the startup was, she went to a conference in Florida. I'm a home builder. I'm a business person. And so she went to a conference, and she went to a nurse practitioners conference where another nurse practitioner in North Carolina had her own research center and showed how to do this. And then she came out at lunch and she said, "Randy, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. I know the docs. I've done research. I know about research. I know every doctor in this market, and I think I can do this." So me doing businesses, I've set up businesses before. Well, we went down and set up the business, and then we started. So we got some of the docs that she knew and contacted some of the drug companies. And then we also have a company that gets us studies too. And they're out of, I believe they're out of, where are they? Up in Michigan or somewhere up north. And they find us studies too. So they have connections with other drug companies, because there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of drug companies out there. There's one drug company we're working with that's in Israel, and they're coming out with and we're signed up for it. We've got it. we're waiting on the drug to get here. It's the diabetes medicine, but it's oral for insulin. So that's revolutionary.
I saw where you've got like 4 different upcoming studies.
Yes.
Okay, what are the 4 that you've got? And just for the listening audience, we are going to get to the COVID.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to lay the groundwork
Yeah.
here, make sure everybody knows you're not a fly-by-night organization.
Right.
That you're somebody that can be trusted. So what are the 4 upcoming studies that you've got on the table?
The 4 upcoming that we have are he just mentioned the diabetic study, and we've done diabetes studies in the past as well. And once you have done a study with a sponsor, which is the drug companies, and you do it well, they're going to come back to you. And so we have several of those. We have a lot of relationships with a lot of sponsors. We've got the diabetic study. We also have acute low back study pain that's coming up, and this is not a chronic back pain. It's an acute. So if you happen to twist and turn, have a muscle spasm, then that's what they're looking for on that one. We also have an osteoarthritis of the knee coming up. We actually have Dr. Ken Martin, who is our physician that does all the osteoarthritis studies of the knee. This is actually a topical, so that's going to be pretty interesting for pain, I think. And then we've got some COVID-19 treatments that we've applied for. There's a lot of companies out there that are trying to get a COVID treatment plan as well as a vaccine. And so that's something that we need to make sure that we also research so that we can have some medicines out there that can actually hopefully eradicate COVID. That's what we need.
That wouldn't be just the treatment; it would be the eradication of it.
Well, the treatment, hopefully getting rid of COVID. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we need to.
So you've got the vaccine that's one part, and then you've got the treatment that's the other stage, and drug companies are coming out with both.
So how many different drug companies are actually working on the vaccine? You're going to do the clinical trial for just one, right?
We're just doing for one, AstraZeneca. I mean, Pfizer's got, it's all in the news with that. Research has gotten a great campaign.
Yeah, it's got a
for
big
the
plug.
last,
Everybody knows now what phase 3 trials are.
Few days.
So
yeah, there's different phases of research. There's phase 1 that's just laying the groundwork of it, and they have to go through a certain amount of criteria and patients in order to move to phase 2. Phase 2 is another round of more patients and more safety and efficacy type things. And then you go to phase 3 and then phase 4, and then it's off for the market. So it's not just, you come in and do this one. Every trial has to go through those 4 phases to actually say this is safe and being able to go on.
Well, you're doing a phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that there'll be something else that has to be done before it can get to the market?
I think on this study is phase 3, is it?
Phase 3 on the vaccines. It's because they're trying to get the vaccination out. I mean, there has got to be something to help with COVID. There's too many people that are coming down with it. There's been too many deaths with it. So we have got to get some sort of control over the COVID infection as itself. There's other study. I mean, there's other. I can't. Pfizer. There's several of companies that are coming out with vaccine type things that are trying to come out. I mean, every drug company wants to come out and be helpful and play their part in that.
And I've had a lot of people ask me. They said, "Well, these 2 companies have already got theirs approved. Does that mean we don't need to do ours?" Let me tell you, this is worldwide. It's not just the United States. So they'll be providing to the world. That's going to be a big job. There's a lot of people. That's a lot more than just the United States. We've got to get it out. They've got to get it out to other parts of the world too, other than just the United States.
Well, and it's got to be gotten out in mass quantity, and I don't know that any one particular company
exactly
can meet the demand that's out there. And until it is eradicated, till it is wiped out, it's going to be a repeat need that
yes
is going to take.
And I tell you, just to put a little plug in for Dr. Wilbur, he'll be on Dave's show Tuesday morning, and he can go into a little bit more about the workings of that. and because he's kind of our COVID expert. He was supposed to be here today, but he's out of town. So, anyways, he's going to be on Dave's show Tuesday morning, I think at 8 or 8:30 or something, and he'll be talking a little bit more about that and comparing it to the other drug companies. He's researched that a little bit more.
That'll be good. So you want to tune in to Dave's show on Tuesday morning and
With Dr. Wilbur.
Yeah, with Dr. Wilbur. And I'll text Dave maybe after the break. We'll be able to find out what time he's going to be on so that people will be able to listen and get, as Paul Harvey said, the rest of the story. Let me ask you, as we're getting ready to go into the bottom of the hour. So what are you looking for in order to get your study? Because you have to have so many cases. And so give a little background in a couple minutes as far as what you're going to be looking for.
Well, currently for this COVID vaccination trial, we need people who are over age 18. You have to be in good, stable health. They are looking for people who are at risk. So those people who are out and about, particularly in the workforce, if you would be at risk of contracting COVID, that's who they're wanting to offer the vaccine to. You cannot have had COVID. So if you have been positive for COVID, you cannot
Like me.
participate in the study. So
Not
those
in the
are
last 2 weeks, right?
No,
Okay.
no, it was three
Just
months.
wanna
3
make
months
sure.
ago. 3 months about killed me. 3 months ago.
4 months ago, yeah.
Okay.
So it was pretty real, and seeing what he went through with COVID was an eye opener for me. So it's very real. It's out there. It does affect people differently, but it's something that we've got to get control over.
So let me ask you, what is a double blind, a vaccine trial that is double blind?
A double-blind vaccine trial is where you will be either given the investigational product or you could receive placebo. This is a double-blind trial. I think it's like a 2-to-1. So you'll either get the vaccination or you could get placebo. We are blinded, so we don't know which one is which. The vaccine and the placebo look just alike. So what we will be doing is giving those if people want to help and help medical science in trying to find a vaccine, then participating in that, you could get the vaccine or you could get the placebo.
So give people a reasonable assurance that if they get this vaccine, they're not going to be producing, kids with green heads and all that kind of stuff that people are,
Yes,
people
there's
are
all
afraid
kinds
of.
of things going on out there with that. So no, this is it's not a live virus, number one, so it can't replicate. And
what does that mean? I mean, and just give me I'm gonna act like I'm dummy 101 on this stuff because I am. So what does that mean?
Well, live viruses means that you can't be around anybody who's immunosuppressed or anything like that, or you could possibly give it to somebody else. This is not a live virus. And so it's not any type of thing that's going to cause you to grow 3 heads or
No.
have a chip in your arm or anything like that. It's actually the product being investigational, but you could either receive the drug or you could receive placebo. So the thing is that once this goes public, when they actually do get it to market, then they will unblind and they are supposed to notify us of the actual people who possibly got placebo, and then they were going to offer them the vaccine too. So that's
So
a
we
good
bring
thing.
them back in. So if you did the test and you got the placebo, then once it goes to market, which hopefully will be after the first of the year, we'll look you up. Hey, wait a second, you got the placebo. Let's get you in here and get the real stuff.
Okay.
So that's new. That's new. So
All right. We'll pick up on that after the break. My guests today on the Kim Hammer Show are Randy and Donna Wright. They are the owners of the Applied Research Center of Arkansas. They are the only one that has been picked in Arkansas to do a clinical trial for one of the phase 3 drugs. And so we'll give you contact information about how you can get hold of them if you're willing to participate or interested in participating in this trial. I want to thank the sponsors of the Kim Hammer Show that are Baxley Phillips Mowdy Real Estate in Central Arkansas. They take care of all your real estate needs here in Central Arkansas, whether you're looking to buy, sell, residential, commercial. Maybe you have property that you want to have rented out, or you are looking for property to rent either on the commercial or on the residential side, they're a great place to call here in Central Arkansas for all your real estate needs. Then also Edwards Food Store, which if you're watching live on Facebook, you can see one of the promotions they've got going on right now for your Thanksgiving dinner. If you don't want to go through all the trouble of having to cook the dinner and all the side trimmings, they can take care of you there in their deli market. All the prices are listed there, and they're very affordable. As I mentioned earlier, at least in 2 of their stores, they now have self-checkout. If you like that option and you want to exercise it, you can get in and out quick, or you can order your groceries online, pick it up there at the curb. They've got all the modern features of the shopping experience, including a clean store, competitive prices, and friendly folks to take care of you. Everett GMC Buick here in Central Arkansas, located down there at I-30 and Elko Road. Great place for you to get a new GMC or Buick vehicle or a pre-certified used vehicle, either one, or their service department is second to none. They've got very high ratings. In fact, they've got a long history of being number one in the market in the GMC Buick line. So check them out. You can shop them online, or you can go down there. Their sales staff is very friendly. They're not high pressure, and they will educate you on their vehicles so that you can have confidence in the vehicle that you'd buy from Everett GMC Buick. This is the Kim Hammer Show. We're going to come back and talk about the clinical trials a little bit deeper. We have Applied Research Center of Arkansas on, so I encourage you to come back after the break.
Take The Answer with you anywhere with our free mobile app, 1011fmtheanswer.com. Tune in, iHeart, or radio.com. Breaking news and stimulating talk. 101.1 FM, The Answer.
God bless us, everyone.
What's the biggest blessing you can imagine this Christmas season? How about having your mortgage or rent paid for in 2021? It's possible when you enter the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Sweepstakes. Enter once a day to increase your opportunities to win. See rules and conditions for details.
To our Merry Christmas. God bless us.
God bless us.
Enter the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Sweepstakes. Visit 1011fmtheanswer.com. That's 1011fmtheanswer.com.
This message is for anyone looking for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance, even if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or taking anxiety meds. Here's an example. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe overweight with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost about $200 a month. We're Term Provider, experts in finding affordable term life insurance for those that may not be in perfect health. If you've had prostate cancer, heart conditions, high cholesterol, or on prescription medications, you may still qualify for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Get a quick quote by calling Term Provider at 800-555-2085. 800-555-2085. If you're looking for term life insurance but have type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, or have other health issues, call Term Provider at 800-555-2085 or visit termprovider.com. Termprovider.com.
American Ground Radio with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr. Listen each Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. You're just not going to hear this anywhere else.
You know, when the whole Trump family gets together, who do you think is the oldest person in the room besides Donald Trump?
Yeah, I was going to say Donald Trump. He's
besides the President of the United States.
It's Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump Jr.'s girlfriend is older than his stepmom.
That's true.
Who is the First Lady of the United States.
That's true. Yeah.
From where I come from, that's just confusing.
Well,
I mean, but you know, some people might say, you know, that's just another example that Donald Trump, he's always winning. I mean, if,
really?
you know, well,
some people might say that.
Some people might say that, not me.
Listen each Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. on 101.1 FM. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Kim Hammer Show on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, the opening day of modern gun season. So please be careful out there if you're a hunter. Make sure you know what you're shooting at before you shoot it. Always a word of caution there, because we want our hunting season to be a good experience. On the show today, we have Applied Research Center of Arkansas, Randy and Donna Wright, who are the principal owners, president, and business manager, might mention. Donna is a APRN that's been in the research business for many years, and Randy is the business side of things. And y'all been married 40 years?
Is that right?
Yeah.
I guess so.
40 years.
40.
Oh yeah.
She says it with such happiness there, right? I mean, like, man, it's all been bliss and joy and happiness.
Yeah.
And,
Been
so
good. It's
as-
been fast.
It has.
it does pick up speed as you go along, I can tell you. But all good speed. My wife's listening, honey. I love you. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's quite the achievement that you can be in business together, but also be married. That is quite the achievement. I want to commend y'all on that. I met Randy and Donna at a Second Chance Ranch event, the annual fundraiser that they do. Second Chance Ranch, a great organization. Had the chance to sit at the table with y'all and get acquainted with you, and just want to commend you both for what you do as a business, but also the fact you're married 40 years. That's a good milestone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Randy, you have personally experienced the COVID virus.
Yeah, I guess it was about 3 months ago.
Okay.
3 months ago, I started feeling a little fluish, and didn't know what was going on. And then my back started hurting. I was on the ground trying to get my back straightened, to quit hurting. And of course, Donna was like, I think I might know what this is. And so I tried to go get tested that day, and they said, come back in the morning because they were wrapping up. And so I came back that next morning. It happened to be a Sunday morning, and I tested positive. And I call it my 2 weeks from hell because it was not fun. But the thing is, you heard about underlying conditions. Well, that's me. I had started the keto diet, which I had lost 20 pounds, which I think helped. But type 2 diabetes, I had heart surgery to repair a defect in my heart, overweight, and what was the other one? That one was 3 or 4 of those, underlying conditions that I had. And also, ever since I was a kid, my lungs has always been the weakest link because I'd always get bronchitis. It's like clockwork, And so I immediately started on some inhalers that, steroids for my lungs. But sure enough, I got it. And I probably would have gone in the hospital if Donna and my daughter Hannah, who's a nurse practitioner, hadn't brought over some IV fluids, and we got me hooked up to some IV fluids. I was on 2 bags of IV fluids a day, and we got an oxygen machine over there, and I was on oxygen for a few days. And of course, Dr. Wilbur, I built his house. He came by and did house calls with me.
Wow.
He lives down the street. So he came by. He said, you guys are doing exactly what I would be doing here. He says, if you get worse, get up to St. Vincent where he was. And he's an ER doc at St. Vincent is where he works. So it came right down to the level of where if I had gotten any worse, I would have gone in the hospital. But I kind of rounded the curve and came back. And then the second week I came back, but it took me about 2 weeks to get my strength back. So it was like a bad flu. But it was not fun. It was bad. For me it was. Now I have friends, same situation. It was no more than just a bad cold. But with me it wasn't. It was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes that's the quirky thing. Some people get it, and it's just like a one-day event. Other people get it, and it's up into the 2-week time frame that the real effects of it break
my
out.
concrete guy. That's where I got it from. I figured it out. He's the guy that lays my concrete, and I was telling him, "Oh, I had that. I think I had that 2 weeks ago. I only had it a day though. I was back to work." I said, "That's when I was with you."
Mm-hmm.
And well, I only had it a day.
I'm just curious. What about the contact tracing? Did you
Yes.
have anybody reach out to you?
Yeah. After a long time, they finally did. And, we went through that. I told them answered all the questions. I didn't know at that time. I didn't know I'd gotten it from, I think it was my concrete guy. I don't know. And it's the only way I can figure. But at that time, I didn't know who it was. And then, of course, I wasn't around anybody. So,
self-quarantine.
Yeah, she was on the other side of the house, and so, and she had all the garb and stuff that she had at the clinic. So she didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
She slide your food under the door and put unclean on your door.
Pretty much,
I I had to do a lot. So it was
40 years of
nothing.
marriage paid
Yeah,
off. Didn't it?
well, it's
It
nothing
did.
more than what I'm used to.
He is so.
You didn't hear in the background like calling your insurance agent or the funeral home and all that kind of stuff, did you?
I did walk when we started walking down the street. I was walking down the street yelling unclean. So
You're lucky you didn't get stoned, buddy. I mean, put a target
that
on
was
you.
past the quarantine.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was-
okay. That was just being Randy, wasn't
It's
it?
just, yeah.
All right, so
Absolutely.
walk me through it. First, hey, let's get the contact information out there. And Elizabeth is probably listening. I will send the information to her, and she can get it up on the Kim Hammer Show website, which is www.thekimhammershow.com.
Yes.
We'll get a link up there. In fact, I think she's already linked your PR press release up there, but I'll make sure it's up there. So talk about how to get hold of you if somebody's interested in doing the clinical trial.
That's one thing I can talk about. There's a couple of ways. One, if you want to call us by phone, there's nobody there right now, but we'll be there Monday morning. And the phone number is area code 501-954-7822. That's 954-7822. And then if you want to email us, you can email us at studies@arcarkansas.com. That's studies@ARC, which stands for Applied Research Center, arcarkansas.com. Or if you want to apply right now, you can go to arcarkansas.com, go to our website, click on studies, and you will see COVID pop up, and you can go ahead and fill your name and all the information. It'll ask you a few questions, and then we'll get a hold of you. Actually, we'll have a coordinator call you. One of the girls will call you and schedule you. We're scheduling now for probably next week. I think maybe, I don't know, if Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday are starting to get filled up. So it'll either be next week or week after next. We've got to get 1,500 people in this trial. And that's what AstraZeneca wants in Arkansas. I think it's 40,000 for the whole country. Nationwide.
Okay, so did they spread it out over all the states,
Yes.
Canada, Mexico, or just in the Is this just the United States?
No.
it's all over.
They have some going in other countries too.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right, so 1,500, and how did they arrive at 1,500 for Arkansas? Just based on population, the number of people have already tested positive, or
Market size and
market
stuff.
size,
Yeah.
and then that allowing every site that they've got to do 1,500 up to a certain amount. So that way, every site and every high risk population to be diversitized, so that they can say not everybody came from Arkansas, not everybody came from California, not everybody came. So it's
That
all
was
over.
another reason why they wanted us, because they saw how fast in the hot spot we were at the time. We still are, but at the time, comparably to the other markets that Arkansas was.
So it'd be
And
easier to
that's
get individuals.
That's why they called us and said, we want to get you up and running, one of the first ones.
Not to mention you have a successful history as an organization.
Right.
So-
Right.
Absolutely.
All right, so talk me through it. If you've had COVID, you can't participate,
You
right?
can't participate in this study if you have had COVID. Yeah.
For any length of time.
Right.
Okay. So who are you looking for primarily? Are you trying to get a certain population, race oriented, or maybe employer, like, working in a healthcare environment, a public school teacher? Is there a
Right.
criteria for, like, of those 1,500, it's broken out as to how many you want from each one, or is it just the first 1,500 through the door?
That'd be the first 1,500 through the door. We would like to have diversity. We'd like to have young versus older, so it's 18 and over. I do believe, however, and I'll have to clarify that, you can call if you want to, but I think over 70 is now closed with that. But 18 and over, you do need to be in good, stable health. If you're on medicines, you need to have been on those medications for a length of time. You can't have just started something in that. You cannot have had COVID, so you cannot have been tested positive for COVID, but they want people at high risk. So those people would be like school teachers, medical profession, first responders, restaurant workers, anybody that comes in contact with the public, because, sometimes you don't know who you're serving or who you're actually coming in contact with that may already have been exposed, and then that's exposing you, so it's exposing people around with that. So those are the criteria for you to even contact us and see. And honestly, we've had quite an overwhelming response. I've been surprised of people that want to help and get this vaccine to the market. So it's been very, very pleasant that people want to do it.
Right. It's them doing their part.
Mhm.
Right.
What can I do? You can get the vaccine trial. And some people say, well, I'll just wait until the vaccine comes out. Well, is a 60% chance, 66% chance that you're going to go ahead and get the vaccine if you go through the trial. So go ahead and get it now, especially if you're a worker or in the field or out in the community, or, if you're high risk. So
But
we've
how do
had
you-
people that come to us say, well, I want to go ahead and get this. And if I get the placebo, can I get the real stuff later? We say, yeah, we'll unblind. As soon as it goes out, then we'll look at it and get you back in. And if you did get the placebo, we'll get you back in here and get the real shot.
All right. So again, I'm going back to just take the position of Dummy 101 class here, the placebo versus the other side.
Investigational
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's the difference between the two? Just explain placebo and
Placebo
how it-
has no active ingredient at all in it. The investigational product is actually the vaccination. So it's actually the medicine per se. So you're either given the investigational product, which is the vaccine, or
the real deal.
the real
Right.
deal, or you could get placebo, which is nothing
Sugar
more
water.
than sugar
Yeah.
water, or whatever. It is the same color, so we're blinded as well. We have no idea what's what. The only people that know that is the AstraZeneca people. They tell us, which medicine to give with that per se. So, and you have to have a placebo, because if you don't, then FDA is going to say, well, how do you know your product works? I mean, these people, you all got it, does it work? So most all drug trials will have a placebo.
And it's a 2-to-1 ratio.
Right.
So there's a good chance that you're going to get it now at the trial and get compensated. We didn't go into that, but we do. We compensate. People say, well, do I get compensated? Yes, we do compensate for time and travel. So you can call us. We'll be glad to discuss that with you. And each time you come in, each time if you get in the study, this is a 2-year study. Most of the visits are on the front end, the first 2 months, 3 months, 2 months. So you get paid each time you come in. But then it goes up to 2 years, because they want to draw that blood from you, and they want to know if that antibody's still in you and see if that vaccine's going to last 2 years. So they want you to come in that last 2-year mark, let us draw your blood, we'll send it to them. They'll look at it and see if that antibody's still in you.
So the 1,500 that you're going to give, is it 50 are going to get the placebo and 50 are going to get the real deal? You guys don't even know that.
We
do
don't
you?
even know
No.
that.
We're
Okay.
just the number.
But it's
You administrate it.
we administrate
That's
that. Yeah. We want all people to actually participate. So young, old, all ethnic groups that can participate. That's what they're looking for, and that gives them a more diversity as well. Of how it reacts and how people react to it, if they do, and how well it takes with that.
So what have they done so far that gives a person a reasonable level of assurance that if they get the vaccine, because it's still in the phase 3, that they're not going to get something that's adversely going to affect them, such as cause death or, other ugly things nobody likes to talk about?
Because they've already gone through 2 phases of this. So we're already at a phase 3. So there's already been a phase 1 and a phase 2 trial that's already been conducted with that. So they have proceeded on to phase 3 for this. So.
And this is the final phase.
Right.
So
You're talking about that a
and
while
this-
ago, 3,
this-
4, this
yes,
is it.
And this is all regulated by the FDA. It's not something that a company just come up with and we're doing it. This is all FDA regulated, just like all the other Pfizer and Merck and the other ones. AstraZeneca is a large company.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they've been around for a while with that. Most and all the other drug companies that are doing this as well have been, pretty well known with that too. So participation strictly voluntarily. You can come in, read the consent. When you come in, we'll give you a consent that you have to read because, and again, allow you time to answer any questions that you might have. If you decide to participate, then there are other things that we go through, blood draws, making sure you do a physical, those kind of things to make sure you are medical history, everything's fine and correct.
Let me interrupt you and ask you, what if you draw blood and you find out that somebody's using a illegal drug? Is that going to prohibit them from continuing? And that's one thing I think people are conscientious about. They want to make sure that whatever information you're going to give them, because it does involve government. I mean, there's all sorts of conspiracy theories like the vaccine, has a chip in it and you're going to be traced and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, and it's to your own safety, though. I mean, that's why they want to draw labs just for making sure things in your body are safe enough to continue to participate. So there are some things in a lot of studies that will say, well, if your liver functions are too high, you may not be a good candidate for this. So we need to stop it now for your safety. So, yeah, they will.
And you get physicals too. When you come in, they give Donna or the doctor or Dr. Velez or Dr. Wilbur will give you a physical right there, and they'll draw your blood and.
But then you're also, once that that visit is completed, then you're compensated successfully. You have to successfully complete the visit, then you're compensated for that. But there's no charge to the patient. There's no charge to their insurance. So research is actually you volunteering to participate in that.
Why not 70 and plus? Because they're a vulnerable population. You said nobody over 70 a while ago. Why would they not want some of the 70-year-olds? Because I'm thinking about the patients in the nursing home. If they're not going to include 70 and above, how would they know the vaccine would be effective on?
No, they have.
Yeah. They have.
Yeah. That population is already filled. So they have a certain amount of people that they want.
This age bracket. So they may call us tomorrow and say, give us, take this one now.
Narrows your scope.
Right.
So I'm thinking about the numbers, and I didn't bring it with me, but, every day we hear about the number of people tested, which, there's the question of, is that retest, new test? That's always an ongoing discussion between, us and the Department of Health. But for the number of people that have been tested in Arkansas, are your chances of getting, because 1,500, how many of you already had sign up?
We've had a lot sign up. We've already completed, I want to think about 70
or 80 we've done, and we just
started 2 weeks ago.
We started 2 weeks. The first week was getting all the kinks worked out, and getting the flow, and then last week went real well. And then probably we got, 30 or 40 already signed up for this coming week.
How many can you do in a week's time?
That's a good question. I want to do more.
That's the business side of you.
It's we've got some more personnel coming to help us because there's a lot of data entry. So we're expanding. We're hiring 3 more people just to come in to help with this study. So a lot of data entry stuff and all that. So the coordinators and stuff won't be tied down, and then they can be doing their responsibility. So we are ramping that up. We would like to get up to 20 or 30 a day is the goal. Now
you got 10 to 12 weeks to complete it in?
That's what they're
if that's what they're wanting to do, but they said, at first they said we got to get 30,000, then they upped it to 40,000. So it may get long, it may go further. And if we don't get all of ours, another market may get more, and so they'll divide it up that way too.
Okay.
So, or we could go up to, if we get our 1,500, they said we could go up to 3,000.
All right. So it's just a matter of ramp up speed.
It is.
Right.
It's getting it. It's in there.
Right. And we're on North Rodney Parham, so we're locally here.
Yeah.
We do try to work around the patient's time that they can come. We're doing some evenings. We're also doing next Saturday for vaccinations as well. So we're trying to be accommodative as well for people that want to participate in it.
Sure. Now, you're located in Central Arkansas, but you've got all of Arkansas. You're the only one in Arkansas. I'm thinking about Northwest, which is, has had a history periodically of being a hot spot. Are you able to accommodate the Northwest Arkansas population in any way, means, or form, any fashion? Or they'd have to drive down?
Not really, yeah.
Okay.
We're the ones doing the AstraZeneca trial, so statewide. So there obviously are other trials going on with that, but no, they would have to come to us with that. I know that's a long drive. We've actually had people contact us and saying they want to come. So that, like I said again, the response has been very overwhelming. So which is good because people want to do their part.
Well, I think the more the word gets out, probably I can imagine in the next 2 or 3 weeks, between being on the Kim Hammer Show, plug,
That's right.
and
Sure.
Dave Ellswick, on Tuesday morning, you guys are going to get overrun.
Yeah.
But I would anticipate next 2 or 3 weeks, that you'll get up to full speed. So give us the contact information again, because we're coming in on the landing strip here.
If you want to call us Monday morning, you can reach us at area code 501-954-7822. And just tell the girl you want to ask about the COVID vaccine trial, and she'll get your information, and a coordinator will call you back and schedule you. And she'll also do what's called screening. So she'll make sure that, you screen and you're qualified to get in the study. And then you can email us at studies@arcarkansas.com. Just send us an email, and we'll get a coordinator to call you then. Or you can go right to the website, which is arcarkansas.com. Click on studies, and you'll see COVID vaccine and all the other studies that we're conducting. And you can apply for any one of those, or if you know of anybody else that has any of the other studies that we're doing, the infant formula or the atopic dermatitis. There's a lot of them that we're doing. Very good, state-of-the-art, upfront, first, drugs that are coming out.
Cutting edge.
So, yeah, that's it.
Well,
that's it.
The diabetes one.
Yeah.
Because I know got a lot of friends that are diabetic, that if, just real quick on that one, you're talking about a pill form.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have to take the shot or have the insulin pump, or
That's what they're looking at.
is that for all age groups? Because I've got a few people I can probably talk to about that.
It'd be 18 and over, and then people who are already on certain medications like metformin that may not be controlled. So
Okay, I wish you would do it for under 18. I've got some friends that have kids that have,
a lot of times they come back, and once that they see it's successful in the adult, we've done this, and then we open it up for kids, and they come back and do another study just for kids.
Okay.
We've seen that.
We got a couple of minutes. Let me ask you, though, if a person wants to sign up for the clinical trial, how many visits should they expect to make over the 2-year period?
They'll be up to about 7-8 visits. Some of those we do keep in contact with them because we do phone call visits as well. So a lot of it will be follow up by phone calls.
Okay, not a high demand on your time then.
No, the first one is the longest because you got to go through the consent, which takes about an hour. But the second one, see, this is a two shot series, so you come in for your second shot, but you don't have to go through the consent, so it'll be 15 minutes.
So you'll come in day 1 for one injection and day 29 or day 28 for the second injection.
Okay, not a high commitment of time then. So
no.
Okay, all right. Anything you want to share in our last couple of minutes that we haven't covered?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to the maybe pregnant women. We do have infant formula study, so that's free formula for 6 months that they want to participate in that. And then there's a few visits on that, just bringing the baby in for weight checks, and then you obviously get compensated plus the infant formula.
Okay.
We also work with several doctors. We've mentioned that before. We have a lot of prominent physicians that work with us in research. There's Dr. Steve Simpson, which is our medical director. Dr. Lee Wilbur is the ER physician. He's the one that is actually the investigator over the COVID study. We also work with Dr. Ken Martin, Dr. Mabry, Dr. Wurges, and Dr. Moore over at the Pinnacle Dermatology, do a lot of our dermatology studies. And then, of course, Cornerstone Clinic, Dr. Livers, and that group do a lot of the women's health and infant formula studies.
Very good. Well, I'm down to my last minute. You got a lot of heavy hitters, as we mentioned a while ago. I didn't know if you wanted to call their names out or not. That's why I was hesitant.
Yeah.
But that's credibility right there when you look at the list of physicians that you have. The guests on the Kim Hammer Show today have been Donna and Randy Wright. They own the Applied Research Center. They are they are the only one for the clinical trial. If you're interested, you can go up to my website. We'll make sure that you get the information, or as Randy gave it a while ago, hopefully you picked it up. Next Saturday on the Kim Hammer Show, I'm going to have David Cook, who with the Alzheimer's Association, we're going to talk about Alzheimer's and especially how you can prepare for the upcoming holiday. Thanks to all my sponsors, Baxley Phillips Mounty, Edwards, Everett GMC Buick. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Hunters, you be careful out there. Hope you bag the big one.
101.1 FM, The Answer. KDXE FM, Kamak Village, Little Rock.